Hello and welcome to another Crafting with Kara. I recently cleaned my craft room, so I found even more WIPs than before. So that means we are going to have a WIP Roundup Part 2, a little WIP parade. Before I dive in, yes, exactly. We're gonna do a little dog intro. Yeah, here's Mahogany on the couch. So, yeah. She's just loving this little belly rubs. Yeah, look at that sweet face. And fun, exciting thing, we also have Ginger here. Yeah. So she's doing just fine. The donut's nothing of concern. It's just that she's allergic to grass and stuff. So sometimes if she has access, she licks her paws a little too much. So the donut just helps her not lick her paws to the point that they get all like angry and raw. So she's totally good. Nothing of concern, which is really great. So yeah, we're lucky enough to have both puppies here. And Ginger being on the couch means that she hasn't had an accident lately. Yay! Yeah, Belly. Belly. All right. So first I want to start with non-knit or crochet, and then we'll dive into all the knit and crochet. I think in November, I got this embroidery kit, which I really like. And this is how far I've gotten. So it's one of those where it's like a sampler of different kinds of stitches. All the one that you see here is the back stitch. So now I am quite decent at back stitching. I wouldn't even say decent. Decent strong. There's definitely some errors, but that's okay. This is my first embroidering. I've never done anything like this before. One of the things I hope to do, I have like a sweater, and I don't know if you saw on Instagram or like on TikTok or anything, but there's some guy who has embroidered like a bunch of tattoos on a sweater. And so I thought that was really fun. I don't want to do his tattoos, but I like the idea of a tattoo sweater, and I want to maybe it's just me, maybe it's other people in the world, but I've thought about getting a lot of tattoos and have yet to actually bite the bullet and, get a lot of them. So I think it would be fun to make a sweater of all the like tattoo whims that I've had. And so like when I move from one place to another and you think, oh boy, I want to get a tattoo to remember that last place or something like that. It's for the longest time I had a like fear or a phobia of needles and blood, and tattoos just they believe it or not, I haven't gotten a tattoo because of that. So who knows, maybe someday I will, and it'll be great, but until then I can make this fun embroidery thing. So that's really why I want to embroider, because I think it's another fun thing to learn. It doesn't take too much other space, whereas like spinning or like punch work, I just feel like if there's a lot more crafts that take up a lot more objects, like a lot of physical space if you start doing that next craft. Whereas like knitting versus crocheting, that you just need some extra hooks, or some extra needles, depending on which way you go. This, I've already got like actual needles, and the kit came with one as well. The only thing is that like the thread is different. But I think that's cool. I like it. So yeah, I'm excited to learn a lot of different stitches. Each one talks about different things, so that way you know what you're doing. There's also YouTube in case I get stuck. It's not this specific kit, but it's everything. Look at this little girl. Yeah, she's having a fun time. Yeah, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, it's because I stopped. Okay, so that's my one embroidery WIP, and I started it just after the new year. And at the time when I started it, I thought, well, this doesn't count towards my WIPs because it's a totally different craft. So, haha. Things that I did, if you watched my other WIP parade, I picked up and started making granny squares. So this one I've been trucking along with. I now have made every single circle I need to turn them all into squares, put those squares with a gold wraparound, and then start attaching them. So I am trucking through, but then I got distracted. Let me see if I know where the bag is that I'm looking for. Because as much as I should have done another WIP, I instead cast on a new project. Let's see if Ginger will allow. What are we doing? Be nice. Yeah, Mahogany, I can see it. Sure, Mahogany's face is like, what's going on? Yeah. Yeah. So I started knitting some of the a red hat, the anti-ice protests hats. I even put in mine. Yeah. I even put in mine some Morse code, which is really fun, because the reason that we're going with like a red hat is because in the 40s, people in Norway were protesting, and they were doing it so much that you weren't allowed to wear red hats because it, you know, like it showed that you were loyal to people. Well, you were disloyal to Nazis. You hated the Nazis. So now it's come back, which is really fun, and I already started and finished a hat. I did one in 4 days, and now I'm starting another for a friend, and I'm excited about it. Yeah, but I can't. Where is it? Where's the bag? Oh, I see it. Okay. Oh, my goodness. So this one's not a fancy project bag, but it's from before Joann Fabrics. It's from before Joann Fabrics went out of business, so do more of what makes you happy, which I think is a very fitting sentiment for a anti-ice hat. So here's my finished one. It's the pattern that was like featured on The Guardian and NPR and stuff, which just means that it just decreases in 2 different places to make it kind of like that pinched elf looking hat. And then as I mentioned, I put Morse code in here. So if you see there's like one row with like weird eyelets, that's the space between the letters. So I put I'm about to curse, so pardon my French. In Morse code, I put fuck Trump, fuck ICE, and then I support immigrants, which is really exciting, in my opinion. I like that it's like nobody else really knows that it's there. Hello. In cleaning my craft room, I found this, and so this was just stash yarn, and I was very happy to find that it was just stash yarn. So this is how far I am with my second one. You need quite a bit of ribbing before you switch to the decreases, and so I'm doing well. I'm going to do the same kind of like Morse code. I'm going to do it a little bit lower, so that way, because I feel like certain times when I fold it up, you can still see the Morse code, which is fine. I like it. But so this one's for a friend, so I'm going to do the Morse code just a little bit lower. This one, I got at String Theory, this ball of yarn, and it's Blue Fiber Company hand-dyed yarn. It's this really pretty like red that's just hand-dyed and it's super tonal, which is awesome. This one's called Turning Leaves. So, and it's DK. I made the DK version. And just to show you like my fun thought process. So this is my Morse code row. The craziest bit is, so I worked it all out Morse code wise and then realized that you knit. So you read from right to left, right? No, I'm sorry. You read from left to right, but you knit from right to left. So after transposing how to do Morse code, so like here, you know, there's the Morse code. After transpiring that, you have to then do backwards the knits, the purls, and the yarn overs. It took some time, but it was fun because I really did feel like a spy, where it was, you know, if you were to give this to another person and they knew how to decipher it, then they would be able to read the code. I mean, my code is just for me and my heart, but it's fun to know that other people, probably other women, like spent time doing this, made it look like it was like little mistakes, and then I'm sure they didn't do it in a giant row like this because it is a little conspicuous. But, however you did it, put like one thing every 10 rows or something and it slowly spells something out. But either way, it felt really cool to be like slowly, first you have to worry about how to say it in Morse code. Then you have to figure out how to put it into knitting, like knits versus purls versus yarn overs. And I just thought it was really cool. And I felt like a special connection. I felt like I was going back in time a little. I mean, I'd love us not to be in a situation where we have to, say that people should just be able to live where they want to live if they're not causing any trouble, but whatever. It's something that I'm excited about. So I've got this one done, and then I've got that guy. For both of these, I'm going to make the tassel. So that will come once I'm done with both hats. I'll see how much yarn I have left. So I'm really excited about it. And it's super cozy and it's soft. I love the yarn. It's a highly recommend. Especially if you're in the Chicago suburbs area, that I think it's Glen Ellen, String Theory. That's where I got this. I like that shop. It's a nice little place. So those are the two that I've been genuinely working on. The red hats have been taking most of my energy right now. The embroidery when it's like a well-lit situation, and the crocheting before the red hats was something I did. So I was really excited that I did not cast anything on for like a whole 3 weeks once I looked at all my WIPs and said, oh, you can't cast anything on. And then as soon as there was like that NPR interview about red hats, 3 separate people knew my political standings and the fact that I knit and sent me the link. So it was like, well, of course I'm going to do this. I thought it was fun that quite a few people knew this is right up Kara's alley. Let's craft with Kara then. So that's the crochet bit and the hats. So those are the things that I'm actually currently working on. Now let's go into the graveyard of WIPs. Here's an old one. This one I think I started at one point after I had done a bunch of baby blankets. And it's that Bernat Forever fleece. And so I liked it a lot more. So these blankets, these pillowcases are made out of little leftovers from baby blankets that I had made. And they were all made out of Bernat blanket yarn. Whereas this was Bernat Forever fleece. And once I made a blanket out of Forever fleece and gave it to someone else, I realized I really liked the fabric and I wanted one for myself. And I have yet to finish. So we'll see if it actually pills or anything. But for right now, this is the bottom edge to make sure that it doesn't curl up. Then I ran out of light blue balls. And now I have this like charcoal color. And in here I have 2 charcoal balls. And I'm pretty sure I have another 2 balls of something else. The thought process for this was that I make myself a Snuggie. Years ago, when Snuggies were cool, I had just started making baby blankets and stuff, and so I thought, I'm not going to pay for a Snuggie, I'm going to make one myself. They have come and gone. I am sure they have been sold twice over at Goodwills and other thrift stores by now, but I'm still working on mine. So I just tucked my feet under my blanket to make sure that your feet are nice and cozy. And this gray part's hitting like where my waist is. So I've got all this left to go, then to do something like pause for the arms, figure out arms. I'm just making up the pattern as I go. And so I'll do something with arms, and then I think I'll even maybe get like a hood situation, because if you're cold enough where you want sleeves, I'm sure you want like an optional head thing. So we'll see how much yarn I end up having to know whether I can do all these extra bits and bobs. And if nothing else, this can always become just an ugly blanket. But the intention is that this will be a Snuggie. It's so soft. I genuinely enjoy the Bernat Forever fleece. I think it's great. And since I got the ball here, there it is. This was bought at Joann's like a decade ago. But I'm sure with Michael's consolidating and things like that, you can probably get it there too. Highly enjoy. I like that it's machine washable as well, because I don't know if I've pointed this out on the podcast before, but even though I am sitting here with 2 dogs on the couch, one got off the couch, but one isn't, and you're not going to lick your butt on the couch. No, we're I'm actually allergic to dogs, even though they're fabulous. You can't help what your allergies are. So having machine washable things is really great. You can see here, even where the way Mahogany's laying here, she's on a machine washable blanket, and then I've got my Stephen West schlanket blanket, so that way she doesn't get as much dog hair on that. So I always like having blankets and things that are for us, just like the pillowcases, to be very machine washable friendly. You know, I love stuff like this that's super intricate and amazing, but it's nice to just be like, this smells like dog, I'm gonna throw it in the washing machine. I still air dry, you know, even the normal blankets, even the light blue one that she was on, like even that, I'm still gonna like air dry it, mostly because it's just environmentally nicer. So, all right, let's continue the WIP parade. I showed this off before, but I still haven't finished it. Look, I'm so close. At the time, I didn't have stuffing. I have now come across some stuffing. I cleaned the room, as I mentioned quite a few times. I had 2 bags of polyfill. Come on, Kara, what are you doing? So this is going to be a birthday present for my niece. So it has to be done by June, and I'll make that happen. No problem. It's just a matter of decreasing stuffing, tying off, and then adding a cute little tongue. So I want to find, oh, I'm even using red yarn now. I can just make sure that I have enough red yarn for a little snake tongue. Oh, and inside I even have a bag of stuffing. That must have been something that I stumbled across as well. So there we go. Crochet snake goes inside the bag of stuffing. If we're doing a WIP count, aside from the ones that I'm actively working on, that's 2 things so far. 2 that I still have yet to do. Then, just some more things that like you cast on, you get so excited, and then you never really work on it since. These yarns, whew, puppy farted, whoo-hoo. These yarns were super soft, and I really liked them. And as soon as I got to the yarn store, I couldn't wait to make a hat out of these. I wanted to see what it would be like, you know, like how soft it was. So I immediately started casting on a hat. I'm pretty sure this was a Flicker and Flame hat because I had made one before, but it was a little small, so I didn't love wearing it, and it was a little itchy because it was mohair, and it was a mohair that I was a little bit more allergic to. I then threw it in this bag, which came from Woodstock when I went to see Groundhogs. So this is from 2021. Wow. You gonna come up? You gotta be good. I apparently knew that I would not be working on this because I even threw a little piece of cedar inside to say, you're not gonna get attention for a while. So that was gonna be a hat, but as you can see, I don't need that many hats. But also, now knowing that this red hat got done in 4 days, if I just buckle down and like really focus, I can, even with color work, get done a hat in pretty quick time. All right, that one's 3. Then we've got this bag, which all is this. This one I know exactly what happened. Over 2 summers ago, I was going to the beach, and I like knitting on the beach. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. When you're sitting and you're just like soaking up the rays, in my case, since I'm so pale, in my long sleeve and like a towel covering my legs and my giant sun hat, so that way I get very little sun exposure, I then love to knit. So I wanted to make sure it was a project that I could still chit chat with people, have a drink, enjoy myself. So it needed to be very simple. This is the beginning of a cowl, and all it is the ribbing. And now that the ribbing's done, it's starting to be complicated color work. Couldn't do that on the beach, so that just immediately stopped. I'm pretty sure I already changed to the thicker needles because they're like getting choked here. So like they don't want to ride up at all, which means past me knew that this, let's switch to a 6 for the color work. I must have been on something different before. I hope I remember later what that is because I need to make it again on the other side. But yeah, this one is going to be a turtle. And so this is going to be the ocean, not too shocking. Then I've got some bamboo here. That's going to be some parts of it. And I'm pretty sure I have another green. Yeah, there it is. And I have this like jean cotton for more. So the color work is super intricate turtles. I've already done the color work once. I've made the cowl once. I gave it away as a gift. And I thought that this would be another one. I honestly, though, now that I'm thinking about it, they're all cotton or bamboo. So I think past me thought that they would make a trivet. But then why did I make this a circle? Probably because at the time I just genuinely wanted to knit in the round. But yeah, these can make a trivet of a turtle. And then that way it can be used all year round and in the kitchen. I'll probably do that. I'll have to make sure that bamboo is okay heat-wise. It's 50% cotton, 50% bamboo. So let me know in the comments if 50% bamboo can still be used as like a hot mat, a trivet's the only thing coming to mind, but an oven mitt is essentially the same thing. Like, can it be used on hot oven things? But yeah, this one's 100% cotton. Yep, for sure, 100% cotton. And then this one here, this one's got a ball band. This one's cotton soft, and it's DK. They're all DK, and they're all lovely. It's just gonna take some doing. I super got into color work at one point, and then yeah, I mentioned it in the last WIP parade that my brain just got to a point where I just needed very mindless, couldn't even count kind of things, kind of knitting. All right, before we go further, I'm gonna sip some. I have a slight tickle in my throat, but luckily, since you're watching things, you won't get sick watching me, which is lovely. I just need to make sure that I keep ingesting liquids, and warm liquids are great. This is my Miss Pearl mug from the local yarn store that closed. All right, so that's 4 ghost ones. Let's keep going on the ghost parade. All right, here is something that I like pattern-wise made up. At the time, I thought I would wear this, because to me it looked very rainbowy. I thought I would wear this in June for Pride Month, because it's made out of cotton. But I gotta say, even that is still very warm. So I wanted a reversible, can you tell? Can you see what's going on? There's a cable, just a little, and it's completely reversible. So both sides is there. Yeah, because I knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and then did all the cabling. Then this one, I got inspired. I found, I think it was like at a yarn con or something, I found something where when you get to fun colors, you make sure that it ends up being stockinette, and the rest you rib. It just makes for a really interesting thing. So like there's just a hiccup of stockinette. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily loving the outcome of this. It seemed very erratic, and at the time I was liking it, but once I realized that I'm never going to wear this, I thought I can use this yarn for something else. So this is one of those that I'm going to frog, and it'll turn into something else gorgeous. And that means that like this, I have 2 skeins of this, because one's already in here. And this is the beginning of the second. And there it is. At the time, I thought I would do like, assuming this is the top, right? So it's a triangular thing. I was going to do I-cord loops, like do 5 I-cords attached and then a full-on loop, and 5 I-cords and a full-on loop. This was before Stephen West did his shrimpy I-cords. So at the time I thought it won't be the worst thing ever. Once I did so many I-cords, I realized I absolutely hate this idea. But it was going to be like an I-cord border that then had like loops. So that way you could take this tail end and tuck it into the loops of the opposite color, and it would like be kind of attached in a snug way, but really cute. So this was going to be the opposite color. It was still a little bit rainbowy, but but you know, in the opposite, it would be white instead of black base. Yeah, that's not happening. This is going to be frogged. In fact, now that I'm doing this, I'll even just make a point and put it in a totally different pile. Whereas this one, I might, this guy, I might end up frogging. But I at least know that all the yarn's going to stay in the same kind of concept that was in my brain. That is going to become something different, and who knows what. All right, continuing further into the WIP thing. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but only 4 that are going to keep going. This chaos. Oh, I forgot what I was doing with this. Okay. Way to go past me. So I think sometime, maybe it was even last year, I did an advent where I just kind of got 25 scraps, you know, closed them up, had it be totally random, and these were going to be a shirt. So this was going to be, I think this was the top, it was like the shoulder bit, and this was going to be a really wide striped and like, you know, weird drop shoulder thing. And I just knew that it wasn't necessarily going to be something that I would wear. Even though I wanted it to be a garment, that was my whole point of like, I want the advent calendar to become something garmenty. I ended up being like, these are things that I'm not going to do. So instead, and apparently even at the time I realized that, so I started a beautiful chevron blanket. So you can see these were the other colors, and then they will just follow this exactly. So it'll, you know, turn into these afterwards. Speckled, peachy, purple, peachy. And it's great. It's going to be a really light little thin blanket. Oh, past me wondered where all my snowflake stitch markers went. And even though they are kind of a pain because they get caught on things, they're my like festive winter ones. I wondered where they went. Because it was during this advent that I wondered where they were. They're in my last year's advent project. So here I've got some fun chevron, blankets, a real light little fingering weight guy, and then you just go until the yarn runs out. That's that. I have lots of balls of yarn that are like waiting to be done, as well as one that's waiting to be even, caked up. And then this is here too. I don't know what I was thinking. But I forgot that I already knew that I was going to tear it up. Because, yeah, this shirt was not something that I was going to wear. But I did know that. And that I wanted to start a blanket. This is explaining where so many of my needles are. Here's my 5s. Look at that. Well, there's another one. Let's keep it going. Here is, earlier I talked about the Burnett blankets. So here's a Burnett blanket. It was the pooling kind. I realized that I even did the math. I went to the website plannedpooling.com. You type in like, oh, okay, I've got 45 stitches of black and then 45 of green. How do I, how many do I cast on to make a flat rectangle if I want it to look very like plaity? So I did all that math, and then apparently it was, it didn't necessarily work out as well as I hoped. Because you can see in the beginning it was going along great, and then something happened. Maybe I cast it on, or I picked up a stitch, or I dropped a stitch or something. Or more likely, the yarn itself changed from 45 stitches of black to like 43 or 46. Which happens a lot with the Burnett, even the stuff that's intentionally for pooling. So this was going to be given to a very old friend, like one that I haven't seen for years, but it's one of my other, I'm sorry, did it touch you? Oh, the needle touched, just grazed Mahogany's button, so she had to get up. She said, no, I'm not doing that. So the baby blanket's wider than I wanted, which means that it'll be shorter because I only have 2 balls. But I really liked the idea of it being a planned pooling, so that way I could just, stitch it and forget it. But yeah, it was, A friend from college who I don't really see anymore, but another friend that I do see more sees him, and they said they had a baby, and I was like, well, I can make this. And now that kid's probably 4. But hey. So here's I only have 2 balls, but here's the ball of what it is. So you can see it's Burnett blanket, and it's literally color pooling, and it's supposed to look like this when it's done. They make it seem like any way you do, it'll turn out like that. No, that's malarkey. You've got to cast on a number that's a multiple of whatever their stitch count is. So it's either going to be like this wide or like that wide. So this one, I think I'm just going to let go of the pooling concept and just knit back and forth, and whatever happens, happens. And when I'm done with it, if a new person is pregnant, I will give them that blanket. Otherwise, the next time the friends are in town, I'll say, you can give this to that friend and their baby. This bag, the local yarn store, came from a New Jersey yarn store. I visited a friend who lived in New Jersey, and she, together we went to the local yarn store, and this was like the bag that they gave away, which was so nice. So there we go. That's another one. I'm sure I'll finish it, but then be like, who do I give this to? All right. Ooh, I got some more, man. Boy. All right. Yeah, if you watched my last WIP one, I talked about a New Year's hat that I made in no time, and what do I do? And like, play, love you, play, love you. Come here, I'll love you, but we're going to wait on play. Wait, play. So this is a fun one. I think this is a Hedgehog Fibers free pattern. And it's one of these that like you can use really thin yarn, and then they're like really thick squishy yarn, which is great because I had that really thick squishy yarn. I just loved how crazy this looked. And it's surprisingly airy. Like you can see, it's brioche knit. I'm remembering now as I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, that's what I did. So it's brioche knit, which means the other side looks like this, which is fun. And yeah, so it's just a really light, easy hat, and it's super slouchy and pretty breathable, so it's not for like the coldest of days. And I got all the way to here, and then apparently just didn't, either finish or whatever. But now I'm pretty sure if I just decrease just a little more and then just cinch it through or do Kitchener stitch, either way, whatever. I like the idea that this ribbed part can be either the inside or the outside. So you can have it look like this, where like there's still a folded up part like that. And then this is like the top, or what you saw earlier where it's like this thick yarn stands out a little more, and then when you fold it up, you've got that. You can see why I stopped knitting that other hat. I have so many hats. So this one's made out of some of the scrap yarn from the Advent blankets, as well as one of these like big, thick, really chunky yarns. And I'm pretty sure I had bought the thick yarn as like a birthday present for myself, and then used the Advent yarn, so that I was like, oh, this is great. Now I just got to finish it. This one's so close to being finished, I'm going to move it to a different side to be like, come on, get that done. Especially because spring is coming soon. Especially if you listen to Woodstock Willie rather than Punxsutawney Phil. It's coming soon. So that hat will be perfect eventually. More hats. So, speaking of hats, and maybe this one's going to be an earmuff. This one's based on the fact that I made a gigantic scarf for my father. And then when I was done, I looked at how long it was, and I was like, I should cast this off instead of just go until the ball ends. So I have this much yarn, and I've done this much already. And it seems like there's a Mobius fold in it. So maybe it's really going to be a headband. Oh no, it's that I'm making. So this part is how far I've knit. And then on this past row that I'm halfway through, I picked up to make a folded rib. So now it's half as much and it's very squishy. So I figured that apparently I was going to finish doing the fold up rib and make this go as far as it could and hope that it ends up being a hat. Because folded rib definitely sounds like hat and not headband, but we'll see. I also have a random stitch in here. Oh, not a stitch, a needle. That's where my other 11 went. See, when I open up my interchangeable set, it just looks decimated. It looks like I don't take care of things at all and that they're just all gone, scattered to the wind. But then when you do stuff like this, it's very clear that it was like, oh, I'm using this needle to do that thing, and that's why that's here, so that way I wouldn't forget. Yes, I should finish projects more, so that way when I go to open up something and start a new project, I don't have to wonder where my 6s are and then settle for 7s, which is literally what I had to do with the red hats. But in general, you know, past me isn't the worst. So these are on thick yarns. I think this is a 13. Yeah, that's a 13. I was doing something with 11. I don't know what. And there we go. This one I like. I got this project bag from Llama Llama Ding Dong. And that's why they're a little alpaca, but still, they're practically llamas. Also, almost done. I'm going to put that in the, you just got to sit down and crack it out kind of column. Here we go. This is one that I had been looking for. So this one has a reason why nothing's happened yet. What also explains where my darning needle is. So these guys are like a kit I got at YarnCon, not last year, but 2 years ago. And here's the pattern even. So past me knew exactly what was going on. So it's going to be like that, and it like alternates colors, and it's just this light little fingering weight shawl. There's another picture. I started this and then stopped it because I wanted to do a make along with my mom. We both got one skein of this, and we bought one skein total of the charcoal, and then I caked it into 2 separate balls because that's apparently all you need. I think it's called Nympha. What is it? What is the name of this pattern? Nymphelia. So that's fun. And you can see it just kind of like, it makes a little curl. It shows off this, this fun colorway is called Typhoon. So it really shows off that Typhoon colorway. And then the charcoal, just kind of breaks it up a little, which is why you don't need as much because you're doing a lot of yarn overs with the colored yarn. And then you just do a little breakup one with the gray. So we were going to make it together and I cast it on so that way I could help her cast it on and things like that. And then she kind of lost interest. So I said, I'll wait until she's ready. She was a little concerned about the yarn overs. It is not a tricky pattern, but for her, it was like only her second pattern. So she wanted to do something different instead. Now the real question is why are these in that bag? These are gigantic. These are 15s. What was I doing? In fact, they're not even going to go in that bag again. Since I'm so unsure of what past me was thinking, they're just not going to go in. Because there's nothing else in the bag. Okay. So, there's another one. We're dwindling down, I swear. Yeah, I think only a few left. Like 2. Go. This is one very similar to that. I was on a beach and I wanted circular knitting, and so I just kind of cast something on. This one, once I was finished with, in fact, this section, oh, there we go. It's real hard to do that backwards. So once I finished this section of the like solid color work guide, and you can see the like hand dyed color work. I wanted another thing. So I shifted to then just pretty standard colored, you know, not hand dyed, but machine made. So I wanted to show off the last bits of my handmade yarn. And this is going to be a headband which I brought to a bunch of museums so that way I could just knit in the round. And this was like 2 days worth of knitting, and then I immediately stopped it. I also have gotten to a better place with my bangs. So I feel like I need like a headband less. But in general, I could still wear it. It's a Miss Pearl pattern. I think it's called something about like the knot, because it's a headband that you'll fold it over so that way only this like length will be there, but it's real squishy. And then in the center, there's a physical knot that's going to be there, which is why I'm color changing where I am. So most of the stuff against my skin is going to be this green, and the knot is going to be yellow. And then it's going to go back to being green. And then you pull it so that way it's headband sized. I think past me didn't know how long to make the yellow part to make the knot. But I knew that the green part, you can see like that goes to here, and that works out pretty well. This is all I have yarn wise. So it's definitely a game of yarn chicken. But I can finish this in no time, and then I'll have a headband, which is real cute. Bam. Isn't that fun? With just like a yellow knot at the top of your head. So that's what I've got to do. I've got to figure out how much yellow to make, maybe like measure how much, do a practice knot, then undo it and measure the distance. But all these, it's like as soon as something got tricky, I put it down and didn't know what to do with it. So almost done. Oh, the next thing doesn't even count as a WIP. It is in fact just like me separating to make sure that this is like something I will make, and it'll be a kit. I bought a pattern of a cowl where it's these two colors. This one as well, I thought I would make with my mother. I got the pattern for her. These two colors I think are great. It's a cowl that is reversible. You can turn it inside out and then outside in. And like one side will be mostly this with just a flash of that color. And then you turn inside out and it's mostly this with just a flash of that color. So this is a boucle, which means it'll be so nice up against your skin. And this is just a gorgeous color that also is super soft. So that's why these two are together. I don't even have the needles. Maybe that's what these guys are for. No, the 15s are not. I was pointing to these, the ones that are random. But yeah, this I was even thinking about, again, before all the chaos of the WIP, when I was thinking about doing during the Olympics, try to start and end one project and call it like Olympics. I thought that this could be the cowl that I start and finish within the Olympics. But now I think instead I'm going to try to get as many projects, especially like this one, like the two hats, the headband, the crocheted snake. I could get like 4 projects done during Olympics. So maybe that's what I'll do, is try to whip down during the Olympics and then as like a victory chant, make this cowl. Yeah. So this one's fun. I'll throw this pattern out, but it's, I can't remember what's the name, like a Bianca cowl or something. Either way, it's fabulous. And then some of the other ones are like super intricate, so that's going to take a lot longer. And then I think I'm going to rip out 1 or 2, so that's exciting. Yeah. All right, well, that is the end of all my WIPs. There's just this bag left, which is just more of those crocheted squares. Okay, good. When I saw that one on the side, I was like, what is that still filled with? But no, just fine. And so I've got some more yarn for that, and then it's just a matter of making them blankets. I've got all the circles done. Now it's just turning all the circles into squares. One of them I wasn't paying enough attention to. I only added 3 corners. Guess what? A square with 3 corners is actually called a triangle. So that was funny that ended up being, like, I ripped back to the second or third, no, because third was how many there were. I ripped back to the second corner, and then was like, oh yeah, let's add in another corner. But that was fun. So yeah, thank you for watching all these WIPs. If you have a whole bunch of WIPs, let me know. If you want to join me during the Olympics trying to WIP down, like maybe every week that you watch something fun and exciting, try to finish a project, that's awesome. Otherwise, if you aren't like a WIPaholic like me, then definitely maybe just try and pick a pattern that you think you can finish in 2 weeks. Start it during the open ceremonies and see if you cast it off before closing ceremonies. That would be fun too. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy everything. And remember, if you don't love what you're crafting, just take a break from it, put it down, walk away. Hopefully not for like 4 years like some of these, but you know, it's always good to take a break and walk away. Some of them you can even rip out, like I'm going to with a few things. So I hope you're enjoying your craft. Live, you know, because you only live once. So enjoy the crafting that you've got. And yeah, from our sleepy little puppy house to yours, I hope that you're having a great day and you're staying warm, or if you're on the other side of the equator, staying cool. Yeah. To you, have a lovely day.